Go with all your heart. She is doing the icebreaker speech in the Pathways program, which is different. And the purpose of the speech is for her to introduce herself to new club members and practice the basic structure of a public speech. There are many evaluation criteria: clarity, vocal variety, eye contact, gestures, audience awareness, comfort level, and interest.
I would like to take a sabbatical for a year. Would you join me? My soon-to-be husband, Stefan, says, I love you. You know I would go anywhere with you. But you also know how important is a job to the strength of a marriage. And I say, another thing that is very important in a marriage is keeping your wife happy. And this future, you hope, wife loves to travel. I was 28 and I had been working in an international corporation for 8 years and I needed a break. I was longing to explore the world, visit, learn, discover, and feed my curiosity. We all know that relationships are about finding the right balance between what you want and what your partner wants. So a few months later, we got married and we ended up going in our honeymoon for 1.5 months. Not bad. We flew to Ecuador and we spent 1 month over there. We sailed through the magnificent Galapagos Island, and while on that trip, we met some travelers who had just came back from the rainforest, and they highly recommended that we should go there too. They gave us the name of a guide whose father discovered a tribe in the 1950s, and that tribe was called the Guaranis. So back in Quito, we found that guide, and he took us in a small plane. We flew over the Amazonian forest, and we spent 5 amazing days with the Guaranis. Back to France, I was determined to continue to travel and discover the world. Remember, Stefan, you told me you would go anywhere with me. So now let's go somewhere. Remember how important it is to keep me happy. I remember vividly sitting in our small bed in our small Parisian apartment. As I sat there, I kept nudging Stefan. Get a job somewhere else. Call your boss and see if there is anything. My dreams came true. I quit my job, and 3 months later, we were living in New York State. Moving in another country is a great way to grow and stretch yourself. You meet new people, you discover new culture, and everything is new. I loved new. I think moving abroad satisfied my curiosity and my thirst for new things, at least for a while. We lived 3 years in New York and came back to France, this time with 2 adorable tiny baby twins, Anaïs and Chloe. And they were 4 months old when we came back to France. And they had no choice that come back with us. Now, coming back where you previously lived is not that simple. It's a bit like Groundhog Day. You keep coming back to the same place, but not much has changed in the place that you left 3 years ago. But you have changed in many, many ways. After a few months living in the suburb of Paris, we were both sure we wanted to move again. Somehow, Stefan found a job in Madrid, Spain. Talk about adventure. I couldn't speak a single word of Spanish. So my first goal was to learn the language. After 1 year, I was speaking correctly, I could write, and I decided to study naturopathy and apply kinesiology, which is a healing modality. We spent 5 years in Spain, and I began to nudge Stefan again. Stefan wanted to keep me happy, so he took a job in London. This time we left with 3 children. Our son Thomas complemented our twins, and thankfully they were still too young to complain. Our children had been in a Spanish school, so they were fluent in Spanish, and now they had to learn a new language. And after some tears and cries in their new English school, they finally settled in. Living in the beautiful city of London, I started to learn new things. Emotional freedom technique, allergy elimination technique. I was passionate about healing, and I still am. I wanted to learn as much as I could while living here. And I worked as a kinesiologist for 2 years. Those 5 years went very, very, very fast, and our daughter were entering secondary school, so I had to think about what was our next move. Stefan didn't seem worried enough about my being happy, so I gave him some serious nudging looks. Stefan told me that he got transferred back to France. He looked at me again and said, "Are you happy now?" So we crossed the channel to live in France, and we settled in the French Riviera. Not bad. Our family was closer to our dear relatives, and happy to be back in this beautiful country, just 1 hour from Italy. The wonderful thing about living in Nice is that we're surrounded by international people. Our kids were going in the international school, and we could speak foreign language every day. We bought a house, and we thought we would settle here for a long time. Wrong. 2 years later, Stefan took me to Boston. This time, I didn't have to nudge at him. By now, he was an expert at keeping me happy. Moving with adolescents was not easy, and because this time they could verbalize their complaints very annoyingly. Fortunately, they made new friends here. Moving to Boston gave me the opportunity to learn about mindfulness and positive psychology, and continue to learn and discover. I'm a little concerned that when Stefan sees my look in my eye, he doesn't say anything, he just leaves the room. Today I realized that I gave my kids the traveling virus. I'm glad I did. Anais is currently in Canada, Chloe will be in Chile in December, and Thomas is in Ecuador coming back this weekend. What our family has learned is what Confucius wrote a long time ago. Wherever you go, go with all your heart, and make sure to keep your wife happy.